Try this when you're feeling stressed the next time. A lot of stress actually comes from making small problems bigger than they actually are.
And like in order to really find peace, inner peace or happiness, it's a discipline. Like you actually have to work at doing that. And it's a lot easier for people to distract.
Because a lot of problems that you have right now probably won't matter 5 to 10 years from now. So that's why if you're feeling stressed, you should ask yourself, what are the most important things to me? It helps you calm yourself down and remember that some of the stress points aren't actually as significant as they seem.
I thought to myself, like, if I'm too afraid to do that, like, what does that say to my kids? You know, if that's because I've been very afraid to put that out in the world because it's the most.
If you have found this helpful, give this a like. But the problem with stress is that we avoid it because we don't like it, which means we have to reframe that.
This is really this has heat.
Yeah.
Now I know where we're going.
Yeah.
Woo! It's like
We can pretend that the stress as if it's a game, not to trivialize it, but like a puzzle that we can control. It makes things less daunting, we panic less, and we don't feel so overwhelmed.
wow.
Yeah, you go up.
How do
you
I
go
look?
Up. Amazing.
Do
Amazing.
I? Is this like this is what I look like if we got in a fight?
As people, we can actually handle much more stress than we think. But if you increase tolerance, stress becomes permanently easier. But some stresses comes from us trying to control things that we shouldn't control.
You know, I grew up with my mom saying, you know, if you point one finger out, there's always 3 pointed back at you.
That's a great line.
Oh, yeah. And that's right. That was my grandmother. That's my grandma.
Like stressing over callbacks from an interview or the state of the economy. It's pretty easy to feel depressed. The question to ask yourself becomes, what can I let go? Whatever things that you cannot control or isn't your responsibility, let it go.
The kindness, like looking people in the eye, like that's where we're strict. The other stuff, like life stuff, expectations.
No one can or should do everything. So remember that some of the stresses that you have aren't actually your burdens to bear. But practically, to reduce the feeling of overwhelmed, just take the next step.
Could you just sit down and smell the roses? Could you just sit down?
Yeah, I know.
I you know, to this day, it's an old.
If you're running a marathon and all you think about is how painful and dreadful it would be to finish the entire race, you might not even finish. But if you simply focus on putting one foot in front of the other and nothing else, you'll eventually get there.
I think in my mind, it's like, well, one day I'm gonna die. And like, I'm always thinking like that. So what am I gonna do today? Well, I'm going to live. And is that simple?
Focusing on the next steps takes away the unnecessary mental burdens so you can actually move forward. But if you're struggling with confidence and you don't feel too proud of yourself, I have a different video on that. So what do you think about stress? You can let me know down in the comments. And if you click on another video, then I will talk to you there.